Have you ever heard of the curse of the pharaohs? Today, I'm going to tell you one of the strangest stories from ancient Egypt. A story written on a real papyrus from the Ramesside era. A papyrus that tells of a prince cursed from the moment he was born. But the most terrifying part, the ending of the story, is still missing to this day. Long ago, within the grand palace of the Pharaoh of Egypt, a long-awaited child was born. The Pharaoh had spent many years praying to the gods for an heir. And at last, the child arrived, bringing joy to every corner of the palace. But the moment the child was born, the Pharaoh summoned the 7 Hathors, the 7 goddesses of fate, who determined the destiny of every person at the moment of birth. The Hathors arrived and stood around the cradle, staring silently at the innocent face of the child. Then the first of them spoke in a cold voice. "This child will never live an ordinary life, for a curse walks beside him from the moment of his birth." The second followed, saying, "Death will hunt him in 3 forms: the serpent, the crocodile, and the dog." Silence filled the palace, and terror froze within the Pharaoh's heart. As for the child, he slept peacefully. The Pharaoh decided to protect his son at any cost. He ordered the construction of a towering palace in the middle of the desert, far from rivers and lakes, far from any crocodile. Guards were placed around the palace to prevent any animal from entering, especially dogs. The prince grew up within that isolated tower. He saw nothing but walls, servants, and the endless sky above him. Yet he became a handsome and intelligent young man, often standing by the windows, gazing at the distant horizon with eyes full of wonder and longing. One day, a man passed beneath the palace with his dog beside him. The prince looked down from above and saw a dog for the very first time in his life. Amazed, he cried out, "What is that beautiful creature walking beside the man?" The servant answered, "That is a dog, my prince." The prince immediately said, "Bring me one just like it." The Pharaoh fell into deep conflict. How could he refuse the wish of his only son? He feared filling the boy's heart with sadness, so in the end, he gave in and brought him a small puppy. And so the dog entered the prince's life despite everything, as if fate itself refused to be denied, always finding its way back to a person. When the prince came of age, he sat before his father and spoke honestly to him for the very first time. He said, "My father, why am I imprisoned here? What crime have I committed? The gods have already written every man's destiny, and no one can escape fate. So let me live." The Pharaoh looked at his son with eyes heavy with fear and sorrow. At last, he yielded to his son's wise words. He gave him a strong chariot, swift horses, and sent a loyal servant to accompany and protect him on his journey. The prince journeyed northward toward the land of the two rivers, Mesopotamia, while the dog ran beside him. In a distant kingdom, the ruler of the land built a towering palace for his only daughter and proclaimed throughout the kingdom, "Whoever can leap high enough to reach my daughter's window shall win her hand in marriage." Young men came from every land and tried one after another, but none could reach the high window. When the Egyptian prince arrived and heard of the challenge, he spent an entire day silently watching the attempts. The next day, he stepped forward with confidence and leaped, reaching the window on his very first attempt. The princess looked at him in astonishment and said, "I will marry no one but him." The princess sent word to her father, telling him what had happened, and the king gladly welcomed the Egyptian prince and agreed to their marriage. But at first, the prince did not tell his wife the truth. As time passed, and in the quiet peace of love and trust, he finally revealed his secret to her. She took his hand and calmly vowed that they would face fate together, side by side, no matter the cost. One night, while the prince slept peacefully, a venomous serpent slipped into his chamber and slowly crawled. But the princess was awake, as if her heart had sensed the danger before her eyes could see it. She saw the serpent drawing closer to her sleeping husband. She rose with perfect calm, brought a bowl filled with milk, and placed it before the serpent. At the perfect moment, the princess seized her sword and struck the serpent dead. Then she awakened her husband and told him what had happened. The prince looked at her with astonishment and gratitude and said, "May the gods protect you, the one who protects me." It was the first time the prince had faced one of the three fates foretold for him. Legend says that the crocodile had pursued the prince for a very long time, yet it could never reach him. One night, the crocodile spoke to the prince and said, "I am your fate, but I grant you a reprieve. If you kill the spirit that imprisons me, I will set you free." As for the dog, the loyal companion who had stayed beside the prince since childhood, its final role remained a secret, hidden by time itself. The ancient papyrus on which this story was preserved was incomplete, ending suddenly without a conclusion. And so, to this day, no one knows how the tale of the Egyptian prince truly ended.